Most men wait until their entire house is on fire before they call the fire department. Now, I don't mean a real fire. I'm talking about their marriage. By the time they ask for help, she's already packed her bags, taken the kids, and filed the papers. Don't wait until it's too late to save your relationship. Hi, my name is Paul Bauer, and if you're new to the channel, I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about doing that is it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives. Now, I got this idea of guys waiting to call the fire department until their house was already on fire from a guy that just recently joined the wolf pack. My man is on his, I think, third or fourth marriage, and everything was pretty good until his wife let her daughter move in with them. She's 18, 19 years old. She's still trying to figure out her life. And that's caused some tension in the relationship. Well, my man, having had failure in the past with previous marriages, didn't want to wait until things were too far gone to fix things. So he joined the wolf pack. And after he joined the wolf pack, he said this: I don't want to wait until my house is on fire to fix this, which is very smart because most guys out there are waiting until it's too late. And it's not really their fault. It's just that they are oblivious. Most men are happy to just tiptoe through the relationship, hoping they make it safely to death. They have no idea what's going on. They have no idea that their wife is unhappy. They do know that she's not fucking them too much anymore. And they do know that she's pissed at them all the time and she nags the shit out of them, but they just think that's how life is supposed to be, right? And some of these guys wait to call me until they've been in a sexless marriage for 3, 6, 9, 13 years sometimes. Brother David, one of my success stories from Wolfpack, he was in a dead bedroom situation for 13 years before he turned it around. So don't think that you can't turn some of this stuff around, okay? But most of you guys have waited too long to fix it, and there's nothing to fix anymore. There's nothing to salvage. The house is on fire, okay? The only thing you can do is tear it down and rebuild. So I have two guys that recently joined the wolf pack who joined way too late to actually fix their marriage. And it's kind of a cautionary tale, and I just want to share it with everyone else so that you don't make the same mistake. So we have one guy who's up in Canada. He's originally from Africa, and I really want to keep things vague because the Wolfpack guys have some anonymity. So I'm leaving out some of the details, but this guy's from an African country, and he's lived in Canada for a long time, and he's going back to school. He met a girl who's originally from his home country. She moved to Canada. They pretty much rushed into this relationship. They got married. They immediately had a baby. They haven't even been married a full year yet, and they're already having problems. So my man joined the wolf pack. As a part of the wolf pack, there's an upsell option to book a call with me. So he took advantage of that. So he and I had a one-on-one call. And based on his situation, I didn't think it was worth pushing him through the 3-month program. Plus the 3-month program is very expensive. And he didn't have a lot of money because he doesn't work. He's going to school full time, and I'm not out here trying to swindle people. So I said, well, you're already in Wolfpack. Get my book, get the workbook, and start working through the workbook while you're listening to the audiobook, and then lean on the Wolfpack guys when you have problems. And he was very active, and he was asking questions in there, and things would come up with his wife, and we would give him advice, and he was implementing it. But his relationship was already so far gone that within a week, all of a sudden we get this random update from him that she was gone. And the kid was gone. They have a baby together. And like I said, they haven't been married very long. And so it's an infant baby. And all of a sudden he shows up from school one day and she's gone. She's packed up everything. The baby, everything gone. But thank God he's in the wolf pack because there's tons of guys that have been through similar experiences. The big concern for everybody in the wolf pack was, is she going to take the baby and run back to Africa? And so we have other guys in the group that are coming up with ideas. We're like, is there a way that you can alert the authorities so that the mom can't just take the baby out of the country? Stuff like that. Contact an attorney, and this is what you need to do, and you need to document this and this and this. So, I mean, yeah, he did wait too long to fix his marriage, but thank God he joined the Wolfpack when he did, so he had that kind of support when things went south, because most guys don't have that kind of support. The worst story, though, so far is a guy who joined earlier this week. He reached out to me on Facebook and said, hey, I'm thinking about joining your Wolfpack because my wife and I have been having problems, and I want to work through it. I was like, perfect, here's the link. By the way, Thursday we're having our hangout. It'd be great for you to join us. So he joins the group. And that day he introduces himself like we always ask new guys to do. And he tells us, hey, my wife just gave me the I love you, but I'm not in love with you speech. I talk about it a lot on the podcast, right? When a woman says, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, it means I oxytocin you, but you don't dopamine me anymore. And because of women's hypergamous nature, if she's not in love with you, more times than not, she's in love with someone else. And if she's not in love with someone else, she's looking for someone to fill that role, and it's not you anymore. Basically, if a woman gets to that point where she's overtly telling you that, the relationship's over. Women can really only love one man at a time, and that's really based on their hypergamous nature. But here's where it gets crazy. He's in the group, he's bitching about his wife, all the things that are going wrong, and things just aren't adding up with what he's saying about his wife. And it really does seem like there's probably some infidelity involved. And so we start pointing this stuff out to this guy. And light bulbs start going off for this guy. And then he's got so much of a chip on his shoulder that he starts a fight with his wife. And she basically unloads on him and says, I want a separation. This is all less than 24 hours after having joined the group. This whole time we're telling him, don't do that. Don't instigate. Don't walk around with a chip on your shoulder. This is how you handle frame checks and stuff like that. He's completely disregarding this because he's all up in his emotions. And she hits him with the, I want a separation. And then comes to find out that she had hidden cameras in his house. He found all this crap out within 24 hours. And as that's happening in real time, the guys in the group that have been through all this are giving him play-by-play, what to do next, how to plan for this, who to call, what attorneys to call, what to talk to with your attorney, checklists and stuff like this, other things to look for. Stop talking to your wife, because he kept wanting to talk to his wife about this stuff. And we're like, dude, it's over, bro. She's looking for evidence on you. She's hiding cameras from you. Her family's involved. She's not your friend anymore, bro. She's an adversary. But I can't help but think how hard it would be for this guy if he didn't have the support system of the wolf pack. I think back to my own divorce. I was married for 14 years. This was before I learned all this stuff, before I learned red pill, before I learned what I was doing wrong in relationships. And when my wife filed for divorce, it was a slap in the face. She told me she was going to go visit her sister in the hospital in Denver. She does this sort of thing all the time. I didn't think much of it. I went to a family event from my extended family, and she said, I'm going to stay back behind and get things tidied up, and then I'm going to go see my sister. For me, it wasn't anything to question. It was like, okay, that's a normal behavior. What she did when I was with my extended family was she packed up all of her stuff. She packed the kids up, and on her way out of town, she filed for divorce. And I didn't know anything about it. And then she called me the next day from Denver and said, hey, I'm staying with my aunt. I'm in Denver. I have the kids. I filed for divorce. I'm not coming home. And I immediately went into freak out mode. Not that she left. I mean, good riddance. I didn't really like her that much anyway. But I was worried about the kids. What do you mean you took the kids? You can't just take the kids. And I was freaking out. Like, I didn't know if I was ever going to see my kids again. And that was on the weekend, and there wasn't anything I could do about it. So my mom reached out to my uncle Johnny, who went through a divorce when I was a kid. And he came over and talked me through some of this stuff and also gave me some ideas on who to contact in town. Told me the best lawyers to contact in town. And just having someone who had been through it was so beneficial to me. And then the next Monday, I set up an appointment with an attorney, and I went and put down a retainer and hired myself an attorney, and I was lawyered up. And now that I had a plan, I could think logically about strategy. And so these guys being in the group, having that support system automatically is so invaluable. I wish I had something like this when I was going through it. And now I'm just happy that I can help guys through this. But going back to guys waiting too long to fix their marriage, because a lot of these guys probably could have fixed this before it got out of hand where it's at. But a lot of guys have too much pride. They think, I'll figure it out. I'll handle it myself. Or they're in denial. They think, well, it's not that bad yet. A lot of guys just hope she's magically going to change. It's just a phase she's in. She's going to magically change. They talk to their friends who have no relationship skills, and their friends placate them. They go, she'll come around, bro. And she never comes back around. Also, a lot of guys feel shame for asking for help. A lot of guys think it's not manly to ask for help. They really have a problem with that. And they think it's an attack on their masculinity. It's not an attack on your masculinity. But one thing I will tell you is women don't care about your problems, but other dudes do, especially other dudes that are in communities like the Wolf Pack. That's what we're there for. We're there to care about you guys. Some guys think that this is just how life is. That's how I was in my marriage until my wife filed for divorce. I was just happy to be Al Bundy. You know, oh, you're just supposed to be miserable for the rest of your life. That's just how marriage is. It's not how it has to be, though. But all of that is really just complacency that leads to the final collapse of your marriage. By the time you admit the problem, she's already halfway out the door. In fact, a lot of women have mentally checked out from the relationship up to 2 years before they finally drop that brick in your lap. You're usually the last person to know. And I'll tell you what, if you wait too long, if you wait until your entire house is on fire to join the Wolf Pack, to read my books, to take my passive dread course, you're going to waste your time trying to fix something that's not fixable anymore. So what I would invite you guys to do is, if you're smelling smoke now, maybe even if the frying pan is on fire on the stove, that's when you want to go get the fire extinguisher. And if you don't have the fire extinguisher, that's when you want to call the fire department. You don't want to wait until it's so out of control that there's nothing that the fire department can even do except contain the fire so it doesn't burn down the neighborhood. Because if you can get it when there's smoke, you can salvage the rest of the house. You might have a little bit of damage there in the kitchen, but the rest of the house will be fine. Here's some examples of smoke. Eye rolls, cold shoulders, dead bedroom. You guys are getting in fights all the time. She's complaining about what you're doing or not doing. She's pulling away. She doesn't want to spend time with you. All those kinds of things are signs that things aren't working in your relationship. That's the time to join Wolfpack. That's the time to read my books. That's the time to take the Passive Dread Blueprint course. If you wait until she says, let's get marriage counseling never works. And it's usually the first stop on your way to the lawyer's office. Don't wait, brother. Join the Wolfpack now. We'd love to have you in the group. You guys did miss this last week's hangout, but we have new hangouts every month, and we have private pod classes every month. Plus, it's a very active Telegram community where you can swap notes with guys 24/7. And it's only $10 a month. I hope to see you in there, guys. But that's all I have for this video. If you're a guy that went through divorce, did you see the signs and you just ignored it? Let me know in the comments. And be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. We do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Speaking of which, I will see you guys Monday for the live stream. We're going to be talking about Rambo mode in your marriage and why that will further drive a nail into the coffin of your marriage. And we're also going to talk about the concept of the 1,000-foot tow rope and how to have some patience when it comes to turning your relationship around. I hope to see you in the live chat on Monday.